Hello there, Ramon's here and welcome to my next music review. Today it's going to be A Dying Machine by Tremonti.
Music review. Music review.
Mark Tremonti needs no introduction in my opinion. He's one of the best guitar players in like last 20 years, and I think that in the genre of modern rock and alternative rock he really stands out. He's got fantastic riffs, fantastic solos, he's a really great songwriter, plus he can sing pretty well. I've been with him since the very beginning. I remember when he released his first solo record, and he's also the guitar player of arguably one of the best rock groups ever, Alter Bridge, who I just really love. So let's not talk about anything else. Let's look at the new album that I've heard 5 times as of now, and it's coming out today, the 8th of June. So even before I start, let me just say I'm kind of excited here, but this record, it's great. It's great. The album opens up with the song Bringer of War that has a very Spanish-like intro, and there is a little bit of Motorhead in the riff. There is one thing I don't really like about the song, and it's in the chorus, that sort of a change that happens almost immediately when the chorus starts. But, you know, it's just something I need to get used to probably. But apart from that, a very solid track. I would say that you've got quite a lot of heavy tracks on this album. Like, for example, From the Sky, which has that typical, I don't really want to say speed metal, but it's a very fast, almost thrash metal riff. Like, for example, So You're Afraid, I think it has kind of a same riff. So it's a very signature Tremonti riff. But I like that there is like this battle between heavy parts and a very optimistic melodic parts, making this song very accessible. Then you've got a song, A Dying Machine, the title track. This song has a sort of a prog vibe, meaning that I think you need to listen to it a few times to actually appreciate a song. I remember when I first heard the lyric video, I was like, oh, I'm not sure I like this song yet. It was like, it didn't have any strong melodic part that would kind of grab me the first time. But it's exactly that type of a song that you really need to listen to a few times to kind of discover. Then you've got some really badass tracks on the album, like Throw Them to the Lions, Make It Hurt, which is just such an epic track, The Day When Legions Burn, arguably the heaviest track on the record. It's exactly that type of a song that you would listen to at the gym. Or A Lot Like Sin, but this one seems like the weakest track on the record because I can't even remember the melody that well. But you also have songs that in a way are different. They are not that heavy. For example, the song Trust, which is a more of a pop rock song. Similar to Dust, but less accessible, and I think that this is similarly to the title track, another song that needs more listenings to kind of appreciate. Then, I'm not sure about the pronunciation of this one, Trapes, or Trapes, whatever. The very first second immediately reminded me of the first chord from Blackbird. This is a very serious and dark song, again similar to Trust in that you need slightly more time to appreciate it, but both of these tracks are really very good. And then you've got The First, The Last, and this track. Now, why isn't this a radio hit? This is just such an optimistic, such a beautiful track. It's very much in the pop rock territory. It has a very strong melody. Kind of reminds me of the songs like The Ghost of Days Gone By from Alter Bridge, for example. Then As the Silence Becomes Me is a song that is very reminiscent of Blackbird, but in a good way. It's got those slower parts. It essentially builds up, and a big surprise for me was the track Desolation, which has like 2 worlds in it. It's a very dark and serious, kind of an acoustic guitar driven song, and then you've got those heavy parts around, I think, 3rd minute or somewhere in the middle, heavy parts but that are very optimistic and very reminiscent of Alter Bridge actually. And this is just a great song, it's so epic. The very interesting thing is that the record ends with the song Found, which is essentially an ambient instrumental track. Something very interesting, something relatively surprising on considering previous works from Tremonti, but it's a very beautiful piece that gives the record a very artistic and sort of a mysterious ending. Sorry for the different angle. I forgot to mention the song Take You With Me. Now, I think that I'm just too excited from this record. This is a great song, one of the first singles from the record, and such an optimistic but heavy track that is very reminiscent of the late 90s punk pop like Offspring and Sum 41. And even though I'm not a fan of these groups, this is a great song. The chorus is very reminiscent of the song My Hero from Foo Fighters, and it has that sort of a Foo Fighters vibe, but it's a very good song, and I think that this is one of the songs that really proves how much Tremonti evolved as a singer. So to sum up, I think that this is a fantastic record. I was very surprised. Now, honestly, I must say that, as I've said already, I've been there with Tremonti since the very first album he released 6 years ago, and I've heard all of his records. My opinion is that despite numerous fantastic tracks that he had on those records, because some of the songs are just mind-blowing, like, just listen to the first 3 or 4 tracks of his first record, All I Was. Mind-blowing. But at the same time, I think that his first 3 albums were not really that well balanced, and there were quite a few songs that were, in my opinion, forgettable and weaker, and also the problem with those records was that most of the songs were similar and the records were kind of blending together, making it more difficult for me to focus on. But this record just proves that even at this age and after so many years at the scene, he still keeps getting better at what he does. And also his singing. I mean, most of his singing was relatively reserved on the first album, but it seems like he's much more adventurous. He's able to sing songs I don't think he would have been on the first 3 albums or on the first one. So he improved a lot as a singer, and the production is just great. I think that it's even a little bit better than on the previous albums. And I dare to say, and this may be a very bold statement, but I think that this new album of his is in the same league as the records from Alter Bridge, and now that's saying a lot. If you are a fan of Tremonti, you will love this album. If you have never listened to his records, I think that this is a great starting point for you. So this is a fantastic record for me, 9 points out of 10. This is definitely a record that will end up on my top 10 list for 2018. There has been quite a few records in a genre of modern rock, mainstream rock, alternative rock that I've reviewed, but Mark Tremonti just stands apart in so many ways. So did you like it? Did you hate it? Well, I guess you loved it. My personal opinion. You can let me know in the comment section below how much you like the new record, how well do you think it compares with the others, whether you agree with me or not. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also to check out my debut album Pursuits in Life that came out something like 2 months ago, sorry. And it's a pretty heavy progressive rock without guitars. Instead you have bass, drums, saxophone and keyboards, making it a very unique album. So you can find the first single on my YouTube channel. You can find a record everywhere, on Tidal, on Spotify, on Deezer, on iTunes. So you can support me by listening to that record and letting me know what you think about it. And thanks a lot for watching. And I think I'm gonna play me a little more of Dying Machine.